Summary and analysis of Nectar in a Sieve by Kamala Markandaya. I first read Nectar in a Sieve during my second year in college. It was part of our course syllabus. At first, I approached it like every other assigned text, half-heartedly trying to finish it before the exam. But the story didn't let go. I remember closing the last page and just sitting still. There are books that entertain, then there are books that stay with you. This is one of those. I have lost all my college books or I have given them away, but somehow this book has remained with me. I haven't even tried to keep it. It just never gets lost. I keep finding it here and there, even when I have changed 4 houses after college. The story begins with Rukmani, now an old woman, telling her story. She looks back at a life filled with pain, survival, and quiet strength. She's not dramatic, she doesn't cry too much, she just remembers. She's married at 12. Her father once held a respected post as a village headman, but now they are poor. With no dowry to offer, Rukmani is married off to Nathan, a tenant farmer. The wedding is modest. No songs, no gold, just a girl leaving home to live with the man she has never met. Nathan surprises her. He is kind, patient, honest. He works hard, tills the land, and never raises his hand. Together, they begin a life in a small mud hut on the edge of a village. It's not much, a thatched roof, 3 pots, and the smell of damp soil. But it becomes home. Rukmani gives birth to a daughter, Ira. She is happy but also afraid. A son would have secured her place in the family. Then for many years, there are no more children. She feels barren, worthless, until she secretly visits Kenny, a British doctor who comes and goes from the village. He treats her and soon after, she has 5 sons. She never tells Nathan about the treatment. He believes the children are a gift from God. Rukmani lets him believe that. The years pass. They are poor, but they manage. Their days revolve around planting rice, praying for rain, selling vegetables in the market, patching torn clothes and sharing what little they have. Then the tannery comes. At first, it feels like a distant construction site, but slowly it grows. Tall walls, black smoke, men with shoes, money starts circulating, shops open, land prices shoot up, the village is no longer quiet, the earth is no longer pure. Rukmani doesn't trust it. Nathan doesn't either, but the children, they are drawn to it. Arjun and Thambi, 2 of her sons, join the tannery. They earn daily wages, something they have never known before. But when they try to demand fair pay and better conditions, they are dismissed. With no land and no options, they leave for Ceylon to work on a tea estate. They promise to write, they never do. Murugan, the 3rd son, becomes a servant in the city. Later, Rukmani finds out he married without telling them. Then he vanishes. No letters, no word. Raja, another son, is caught stealing a calf's skin from the tannery. The guards beat him to death. Rukmani finds his body. There is no trial, no apology, just silence. Selvam, the youngest son, eventually becomes an assistant to Kenny at the rural hospital he builds. He is the only one who stays close. Ira, Rukmani's only daughter, is married off early. But her husband sends her back when she cannot bear children. She returns home, defeated and silent. During the famine, when their youngest child, Kuti, begins to waste away from hunger, Ira takes to the street at night. Rukmani soon learns the truth. Ira has turned to prostitution to buy food for her little brother. The shock is deep, but Rukmani says nothing. What is there to say when hunger has stripped away dignity? Ira doesn't do it for money or desire. She does it to keep someone alive. Kuti dies anyway. As the years grind on, nature becomes their enemy. Drought ruins the crops, then floods, then disease. The land turns against them. One by one, the sources of hope are taken away. And then one final blow. The land they have farmed for decades is taken back by the landowner's son, who sells it to the tannery. Nathan and Rukmani have no legal claim. They are thrown out, homeless. With nothing left, they decide to walk to the city. They go in search of Murugan, hoping he can take them in. The city is brutal. They arrive dusty and exhausted, only to find Murugan has abandoned his wife and children. His wife, Janaki, is bitter. She tells them he left long ago. Rukmani and Nathan now live on temple steps, sleeping beside beggars, waking up to the sound of bells and hunger. That's when they meet Puli, a street-smart orphan boy with no fingers, eaten away by leprosy. He becomes their guide, helping them find work and food. Rukmani and Nathan start carrying stones for meager wages. They barely eat. Nathan's health deteriorates quickly. One night, after a long day of hard labor, he dies beside her, quietly with Puli by their side. Rukmani is left alone in the city, with no family, no money, no direction. But she doesn't give up. She returns to the village with Puli and promises to care for him as her own. He is her son now, not by blood, but by survival. The hut is gone, most of her children are gone, but she still breathes. She still wakes up each morning. That is her triumph. Is Rukmani's resilience futile? On the surface, it feels like it is. She loses everything that matters. Her sons scatter like dry seeds in the wind. Some leave by choice, others by force, and a few by death. Her daughter is shamed and left to survive on her own terms. Her husband, the man she grows to love, dies far from home with only a street boy and silence for company. She returns to a village that barely remembers her. The hut is gone, the land is gone, the life she built bit by bit with hands blistered by rice fields erased. So yes, it looks like futility. She fights, but the fight gives no reward. She sacrifices, but there is no recognition. She endures, but the world doesn't pause to applaud her strength. But here's the truth. Her resilience isn't about results. It's not about winning. It's about something deeper. She's not your quintessential hero who prevails in the end. It's about not being broken, about bending again and again under hunger, shame, grief, betrayal, and still rising, still cooking a meal, still sewing torn fabric, still placing one foot in front of the other. In Rukmani's world, there is no prize for surviving, but she survives anyway. She isn't heroic in the way stories usually tell it. She doesn't fight the Tannery, she doesn't scream at injustice, she doesn't stand at a podium, but she does something harder. She stays. She stays when her children leave. She stays when famine digs its claws into the earth. She stays when the village stops being a village and turns into a crowd of strangers. And that staying, with grace, with decency, without bitterness, is not futile, it's profound. Because in a world that keeps taking from her, she continues to give. She gives comfort, she gives hope to Puli, she gives the last bits of food to her children. She gives love, even when it is not returned. That's not failure, that's silent greatness. Why doesn't she give up? Because she doesn't believe that life owes her ease. Because she sees life not as something to conquer, but something to carry, like a bundle of firewood on her head. Heavy, yes. Painful, yes. But necessary. She doesn't ask why me. She doesn't wait for a miracle. Her strength isn't loud. It's the strength of repetition. Washing clothes, grinding rice, nursing sick children, enduring disappointment after disappointment without turning bitter. She keeps going because stopping would mean becoming less than what she is, and she refuses to be less. There is no rebellion in her, no grand speech, no fight for justice, but there is choice. She chooses to live with dignity, to suffer without self-pity, to love without condition. Even when she has nothing, she holds on to something most people lose, grace. She doesn't give up because deep down she knows life may not be kind, but it is hers to live, not perfectly but fully. What parting lesson does the book leave? It teaches us that survival can be sacred, that in a world obsessed with winning, some people will quietly lose everything and still walk forward with strength that doesn't need to be seen to be real. It tells us that dignity is not given, it is chosen. That some women live lives so heavy, so full of unspoken pain, that if you knew even a fraction of their truth, you'd fall silent in respect. That endurance isn't always about triumph. Sometimes it's just about getting through the day without letting your soul turn cold. And most of all, it shows us that even when life becomes a sieve, leaking hope, leaking joy, leaking everything that tastes sweet, some people still try to hold the nectar. With cupped hands, with shaking fingers, with no promise of reward. That is Rukmani. And that is the story Kamala Markandaya chooses to tell. Not of glory, but of grace. Not of conquest, but of quiet survival. Not of thunder, but of rain that comes late and still waters the soil. Have you enjoyed listening to the summary and analysis of Nectar in a Sieve? If yes, please like the video and subscribe to my channel so that you receive a notification whenever I upload a new video.